Hey guys, Sure Shot Midget here. I actually had somebody comment on one of my videos I just did. He asking what I think of ZCI Gears, just in general, not really a specific ratio, and what I think of them because he's heard mixed reviews. I've heard mixed reviews too, but I'm going to kind of break it down with SHS, Super Shooter, and ZCI Gears. Those are the best upgrade gears for, like, budget stuff, and they're hecka good. This is an example of ZCI Gears. We have a ZCI balanced motor and a ZCI 13-in-1 gear set, an 11-in-1 lipo. Trigger response is actually pretty incredible. This is an M115 spring with short stroke by one tooth, so it's not a super heavy spring by any means. The one Will's brother's gun, I'm going to be running an M110 short stroke by one tooth, so it'll be a little weaker using these same gears. Now, the trigger pull is long, so it's hard to do that, but you can get it going. And then full auto is 25 RPS. It's a little bit higher than that, actually. With this lipo. This lipo gets, this one was like 27. The other one that he has is a little bit lower power, which I'm not sure why. The C rating is the same, but this is the Turnigy. This one gets higher rate of fire by like around a second or two. It's not all that noticeable, though. So we're running the ZCI 13-in-1s and a ZCI balanced motor in here. So perfect mix. ZCI pinion meshes with the ZCI pinion gear. And also we're running, I've already mentioned this, Will has 9mm KWA bearings. I have spares for when they blow out. But for his brother, I'm going to run 5KU bushings. Okay, so now this build is not going to be as fast as I thought it was. This KWA motor is not going to be providing as much speed as I had thought. I thought it was going to be about 30 RPS. It's probably going to end up being about 25, 27 like the other one. So this gun's probably not going to be as high a rate of fire as I thought. I actually tried this motor in his gun, and it got a little less than what the ZCI Balance did. So, yeah, I mean, with a weaker spring, with the KWA spring, this is like a 110, I think. It might get a little bit faster rate of fire, so we'll see. It depends on shimming, too, because the shimming, the KWA pinion gears, in my opinion, they're strong, but they don't like to mesh with some gears. Like, you have to have the height right on this bevel gear, otherwise it just hates it, and it sounds like trash, which will slow the rate of fire. So, I'll try to mesh this bevel with this pinion as much as I can, as good as I can. When I put them in here after I get the bushings. So, I gotta install this Sigma FET with the trigger contacts. I'll do that tomorrow, and I also am waiting on a 11-in-1 for Will's brother. I will install that MOSFET and swap the battery to Dean's once I get it. But anyways, back on to ZCI Gears. So ZCI Gears, this is a 13-in-1 set. I have had one set break on me. These are Gen 4, so avoid Gen 2 and 3s, if I recall correctly. Those are the ones that are not good. Now, the issues that ZCI Gears were known for was the axles breaking. ZCI had some issues with their axles breaking, just basically strength. Now, I don't think they thickened this up at all because they can't. That opening, that axle right there has to be a certain thickness. But they may have thickened up the base here. See the base? I think they thickened that up, but this is very thick, so I don't see those breaking. Now, I had one ZCI set break on me, and the sector stripped right over here. I still have the ZCI spur actually in my bin right here. I have it on the floor. It was over there in the bench. This is a KWA, just trying to, oh, there it is. So, I have a ZCI 13-in-1 in here, and this one is old. This is a 3-year-old gear set. It took 3 years for it to break, and this is literally in fantastic shape. So, I don't expect your spurs to break. These are quality gear sets, especially for the price. Now, I took the KWA sector chip and put it on the ZCI sector. I did that with Will's too because these guns will not feed on full auto without that guarantee. That 25 or 27 RPS on his gun, it had to have that sector chip on there guarantee. I just generally put sector chips on my guns no matter what. Now, the build that I was running this on when mine broke was M130 spring short stroke by 4 teeth. So it was pretty high stress, and it was running about 30 rounds a second, so really high stress. So I ended up keeping the same spring, same motor. I'm still getting 30 RPS, but I swapped to an SHS 12-to-1 set and haven't had an issue. But like I said, that SHS Gears, or that ZCI gear set was like 2.5 years old when it broke. So we'll see if the SHS set's still working after 2.5 years. But I shimmed the gears really well and threw them in there. I'm actually even using the SHS Bevel in that gun at 30 RPS, and we'll see how long that lasts. But that's just that. Now, let's go to the bevel. The bevel gear, SHS is known for having their weaker bevel gears, and they fixed that on their Gen 4s. It's a lot better. Now, I've had a few of the teeth pop on those anyways. I've had 2 different guns have these break. Now, that's not that big of an issue. I had a ZCI break too, but it was because of some an awful spur. The spur was basically chopping up a bunch of bevel teeth, because it was actually like, the metal was actually like not shaped properly. It was actually digging into the teeth and like snapping them off. So I had to ditch the spur. But so when comparing the ZCI to the SHS, the ZCI bevels definitely win. They're definitely better. They're all black, so the Super Shooters are silver, I believe. And they actually, I think they have some of them that are gold, like literally gold color. Their bevels are pretty good in my experience, but again, Super Shooter is basically just a rebrand of SHS. It's their Pro line, so I don't think that there's any difference between their Gen 4s and the standard Super Shooter. The Super Shooters, like I said, they have the bigger tappet cam, a ball bearing tappet cam, and the removable axle. That's the difference between these Super Shooters and the SHSs. So the Super Shooters are like 25 bucks, the SHSs are about 20, and the ZCIs are about 20. Now, I get mine from Clandestine, and they do these for 20, and then SHS for 22, and I don't think they sell Super Shooter at all. But $22 for an SHS set and 20 for a ZCI set is totally fair. I think that is totally fair. Now, Brill does 20 for an SHS set, so Brill is $2 cheaper, but he doesn't carry ZCI. So I like the ability to get ZCIs and SHS, both. I just think that's awesome, and $22 is not overpriced for an SHS gear set. I don't care if some other place has them for cheaper. 22 is still fair. You can get it for about 25 shipped. Like, that is an awfully fair price. So, because I do know, I've gone to Brill too, but I've had issues with his packaging sometimes. He has missed 2 different times. He forgot to pack 2 different products, so I had to wait extra time for those to get in. I haven't had a single issue with Clandestine. I've ordered with them just as much as I have with Brill. Plus, I do know a lot of people that are just so dedicated to Brill that, that like everyone else, if they charge more, they suck. You know what I mean? Like Clandestine, I've heard some people say that Clandestine sucks because they charge 22 for SHS gears, and Brill does them for 20. I just don't understand that, because 22 is fair and 20 is fair. So I think it's both fair. That's just me. I don't know. So I'm running the KWA, like I said, the KWA sector chip on this ZCI. Same thing with the one that's in Will's gun. The spurs here are super strong. The sectors are pretty strong too. You just want to make sure when you get these, you just want to evaluate to make sure they're straight. I actually did not evaluate that set that's in there, but that has to be level, because if it's not, it would have like sounded like trash, and it probably wouldn't even cycle. This is even because they stamped these together. I've heard some people say that SHSs aren't as good because they use screws to hold the top part to the bottom. Well, that's not true, because actually they're press fitted. So the screws, I've actually had those screws come out on me. One was loose and I pulled it out, and I actually pulled the other one out and I tried to separate it. It's actually press fitted, so you cannot remove them still. And in a way, it would actually be kind of cool if you could remove them, because then you could replace the bottom portion if it strips, or the top portion if it strips. I think that's cool, but no company sells just the top and the bottom portion, so... Or like if you want to do a 13-to-1 and you somehow have a 13-to-1 spur, but it's a 16-to-1 sector, and you can get the 13-1 bottom portion. I don't know. That's just me. Just an idea. So these are solid gears. I'm very excited to see how these hold up, but again, I'm running M110 spring, so it's in this gun, so this is going to be totally fine. The M115 and the other M4 is going to be fine. If you want to use these for DMR setup, I wouldn't use over an M130 on full stroke. Now, you do an M130 on full stroke, you're going to get like 450. So I don't see why you would need any more than that. But M130 is the highest I would go full stroke with one of these 13-1s by ZCI. SHS, maybe a little bit higher, maybe an M140 and cap it at that. And then Siege Tech for anything above. I mean, you could do a stress test and put these with an M150 or something, full stroke, and just test. I've heard some people do that, and some people say, oh, mine have lasted for a while, and then some people say they broke right away. It just depends on your shimming methods as well, because shimming methods, you can F your shimming method up and just destroy these gears. I'm pretty good at shimming. I'm not 100%, but I've done a lot of shimming, so all my shimmings are pretty decent. They're not like godly or awful. They're all pretty much in between, like kind of good, just good, flatline good. I haven't had a good shim job yet that's just absolute flawless. All my shimming is just pretty good. It's good, if I do say so myself. And most of the people's guns that I work on sound pretty good to other people too. So, if you have any questions, please comment below, but I do recommend a ZCI set, and I install these into people's guns, so if you have a gun and you want a 13-1 set in it, I can put it in there, but I'd recommend other upgrades too. I'm the kind of person that like, oh yeah, I can throw a 13-1 set in yours, but if you're going to be using 11-1 LiPo, your plastic piston is not going to last. I always recommend SHS or like Super Shooter or even ZCI pistons, or even like Matrix or something like that, a metal rack piston, or any like AIM makes metal rack pistons, all those sorts of pistons, retro arms. I just recommend a metal rack piston. And SHS are really the most affordable ones for any. So I'd recommend, if you have a stock gun, SHS piston, ZCI 13-1 gear set, Sorbo for that cylinder head, maybe a spring swap if you want the FPS to be tuned specifically. A sector chip for your sector gear, and a MOSFET if you're running an 11-1. You could use an 11-1 without a MOSFET for a little while, but these are so cheap, 20 bucks. I just recommend to buy one of these for me, and then I'll put it in for you. I don't make any money on these ZCI gears. If I sell you these gears, I'm not making a dime because I'm actually buying from clandestine, so I'm not making anything on these. I make a little bit on this. Well, I make more than a little bit. No, I make a little bit on this. When I buy these and sell you these for $20, I make a little, just a little bit off of that. And then also what the fee, the $20 fee that I charge, that's obviously pure profit, but I'm spending a lot of time on your gun. So, I mean, I've spent like 3 hours on guns before, and that's for $20. That's well worth. With wheels, it took me, the first time I put the thing together, it was probably like an hour, and it was totally done, and then the MOSFET broke because the wire got pulled out, and then that was easy to replace. But this one will be, again, just like his, probably about an hour total of work. That involves actually shooting it in the backyard, too, making sure the BBs are hopping and feeding. So, thank you for watching, guys. Really hope you enjoyed the video. Again, by the end of next week, I should have a video on this gun. So if you're actually curious about these ZCI gears and see how they hold up, stay tuned, because if the ZCI gears do strip in Will's gun, I will tell that to you. I will not hold that from you. And the same thing with this. So stay tuned. You will see a shooting test. And if this thing's getting 30 RPS, you may just see these gears explode on video. Just kidding. I really have faith in these gears. So I recommend ZCI gears, I recommend SHS, and I do recommend Super Shooter. Now, which ones are the best, to be honest? They're all really on par with each other, in my opinion. Some people will tell you differently, but the ZCIs and SHSs are about the same price, if give or take a little bit of money. And then the Super Shooters are kind of the premium, and the only difference between them is that with the Super Shooter, you get the this built-in sector chip, which is good if you're running high rate of fire, which most people that are getting these 13-1s are. So that's nice that it has one built in. You don't have to buy that, and you're getting the removable axle, which some people hate, some people like it. So it's just totally your choice. If you don't like that removable axle, get standard SHS or ZCI. So thanks for watching, guys.